Welcome to Blue Collar Startup. I'm your co-host, Mike Nelson, here with visionary founder of Blue Collar Startup, Derek Foster. Hey, Derek.
Hey, Mike. How are you?
I'm good. A little scratchy throated. I thought I was 25 years old a couple Saturdays ago and really got after it at my neighbor's party. But I'm still scratchy. So now I wonder if maybe it wasn't that and maybe I had got sick or something. But
it was a cider, wasn't it?
It was the cider. I make my own cider. Hard cider. Very yummy. I think I drink a gallon of it. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that because I pour them in 64 ounce, I bottle condition them in 64 ounce growlers and I drink 2 and that's a gallon. And I'm not sure what the actual alcohol content in them is, but I'm pretty sure it's like 6 or 7. It's decent, especially for drinking that much. But so anyway, not to talk about my partying, but we're joined today by Tom Brizzell. I said that right?
Yep.
I'm so proud of myself. Tom, and you're with Custom Craft Builders.
Correct.
And you're located out of Troy, New York?
Yep, Brunswick.
Brunswick. So, Tom, why don't you, let's just start off. Just tell us a little bit about who you are and about what you do and what Custom Craft Builders is all about.
I do design, build, and remodels. Take everything from an idea a client has to inspirational photos, and I do some design work. I have designers I work with that do some of it as well, and then we take a vision and turn it into a product for our customer.
Very nice.
We build houses and we do additions and interior remodeling.
Interior remodeling.
So I got a question. What was your first taste of the construction industry and how did you go down that path?
My first construction job was painting. I was 17, 18 years old, worked for a painter down in Loudonville for a summer. And that kind of got me going with wanting to be in that industry. Worked as a plumber when I was in my late teens, early 20s, and opened my first business when I was 21, 22 years old, a construction business, just doing the same kind of thing I am now, but structured much differently and not really knowing what I was doing.
I think, so him and I were chatting before we got started, and he was telling me about owning a business in his 20s was probably the worst idea.
Yes and no. I mean, I got to make a lot of mistakes, and I mostly always learn from my mistakes. So, a lot of that torturing myself has carried with me into my 40s now. And I look back on it as a learning experience more than I shouldn't have done this.
Right. When you say learning experience, what do you mean? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Just how to run a business and structure it properly and deal with finances and deal with clients and develop relationships. And I was, young and just trying to get out there on my own. I grew up in a family business. I watched my parents do it forever. They made it look so easy because I really wasn't paying attention to what they were doing. I just thought it was like all unicorns and butterflies. And once I jumped into it, I realized there was a lot more involved in it than that. And I didn't take the time for the important things that it takes to run a business. It was kind of a day-to-day.
What are those important things? Because I'm probably missing them still, actually.
Yeah, I do sometimes too. Just being structured right and developing relationships with people and meeting everybody you can and making sure you take care of people that take care of you. And it's more than just me, even though, I'm the owner, I run my company. There's so many other people and businesses involved in what I do and, making sure that they're taken care of is what helps me make my business easier nowadays.
Awesome.
So did you start with just plumbing or one of the trades, or did you take on whatever? No,
when I was in my early 20s, I was taking on whatever we could. I mean, I was, doing additions, stuff that was way over my head. we were building decks, doing good with that, doing some kitchens and bathrooms and just general remodel construction, whatever kind of came along. I had, a handful of employees, which were mostly friends of mine that I probably shouldn't have hired, but, I got through 5 or 6 years of that and kind of slowed things down. The recession, kind of came along 2008, 2009. I was a little too young and immature to run a business through the recession. So I folded, went to work, doing a couple different things for some other companies. And then I went back at it, by myself again in 2010, 2011, a different business, a little bit different structure, still had employees. It's kind of where that led to.
To give you all the credit in the world, it is not easy trying to figure it out in your 20s, I can tell you.
I had my first daughter when I was 20 years old. So my goal was to try to build something, and I thought if I went and worked for myself, I'd have more time to spend with my family, but it seems that that's been the total opposite for the past 20 something years.
I think that's one of the big myths we should probably dispel for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Owning your own business does not equal more time for most people, especially not in the first 10 or 20 years.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point it opens up. But.
Well, that's kind of where I'm at now with custom craft builders and being an owner operator, general contractor, with no employees. I have a lot more flexibility in my life because I'm the one at the end of the run that needs to be taken care of. And if I decide that I don't want to take care of myself for a week, I can just kind of hang out. I don't have to worry about other people. Not that I do. That's there's always something going on.
But the option's there.
The option's always there. And I made sure when I opened this company that option would be there.
How many hours a week do you think you work, Derek?
It's about the same as what it's always been, but I'm able to tweak those hours a little bit. There's certain things that you can't do during the week when you're meeting with clients and you're putting estimates together and dealing with, people, and that's the tough part. You can't sit behind a desk and really crunch numbers and get your work done if you're out talking with people and, developing the relationships, as Tom alluded to. So a lot of my work I'm able to catch up on after hours. And we talk about that. You're on a computer till 10, 11 o'clock at night. And, that's the only quiet time you really get to focus.
I've actually switched that around.
Did you?
Yeah. Now I'm on my computer at like 5 a.m.
Morning time. Yeah. Did Randy inspire you to?
It's funny. I don't know. It's been a few months now though, and maybe it was Randy, but I get up at like 4 a.m. every day. And then, so that late night shit that I was doing from 9 to midnight now happens from like 4 to 7 or 5 to 8 or whatever it is.
Do you feel like you get more accomplished in that way?
I know that it's, I don't want to say it's easier, but I'm sharper because I'm just on the front line of the caffeine, intravenous caffeine, in the morning, as opposed to at night, at 8, 9 o'clock. I'm just like, I'm exhausted, I'm fried after a long day. So I found that it's been working better for me to go to bed early and then just get at it earlier. But it's interesting.
I definitely find better doing that work in the morning too. Mm-hmm. Estimates and, I don't miss as much. You miss a big chunk in an estimate at 11 o'clock at night because you're tired. There's a lot to lose. So,
well, and I noticed, I try to be somewhat self-aware. I'm not always am, but I try to be. And I was noticing that the quality of the stuff I was doing from 9 to midnight was not great. It wasn't my best work. And like, our clients deserve my best work, so I had to make that change. And plus also I was, drinking wine typically when I was doing that at night. So, 9 to midnight meant like 2 or 3 glasses of wine while I was doing all that crap, and that made it enjoyable. Yeah. But I'm just trying to drink less too. So I was like, man, bottle of wine every day, I guess, is not good for you. I don't know why that is, but what, Tom, when you're looking at when you're in your 20s, right? We've had a couple of younger guys on, and I think for other younger guys that are working for someone right now and they're thinking like, I can do this, I can go out on my own, and maybe they can, maybe they can't, but I think there's some serious lessons there from guys like you that have done it and decided that like, oh man, I was, not doing this correctly, or, what do you think one of the biggest mistakes that you made as a 20-something-year-old business owner were?
That's a tough one. Probably hiring, inside of the realm of people I knew, thinking I could count on them to put out the same product that I wanted to put out, or maybe them not really understanding what the business or being taken advantage of, just not having the right surrounding and backing, and I was new to the business. I mean, nobody knew who I was. I hadn't been in it at all. So, like I said, spending the time to meet the people. And if you get an opportunity to work for a general contractor, work for them and meet the other subs and make the relationships and kind of build your business slowly by doing that instead of trying to go in, full bore. And I mean, when you're starting a company, you want to take on anything you can because they're cash flow and financial, and just vetting people, making sure you know what you're getting into, and there's planning for the future. You open even nowadays. The economy, the way it's changed since I was in my early 20s to now. It could change every week. So you think you can start a business because you have X amount of something to go off the business for. But if you're not planning for the future and you don't make changes as you're running the company, eventually it's going to fail. I mean, there's no way, but that comes from, being 40 years old now and understanding that that's the hardest part about having to say what the biggest problems were, because I kind of learned unknowingly that I was learning what I was doing wrong. It's hard to look back and, pinpoint something that I did.
Yeah. There's a saying I keep seeing that makes me laugh, where it's like, good judgment comes from experience and experience comes from bad judgment, or something like that. But every time I see it, I'm like, it's true, right? Like you make all the mistakes, you get that experience, and then you do better. Yeah. You do differently.
Well, it's the only way that you learn. And even, we have an intern working for us right now, and she's a grad student at RPI. And I told her, I said, you're going to learn things just doing this that school's not going to teach you. That the education of just jumping in and doing it yourself, and your mistakes, they cost you money, but so does school.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
No, I think I'm more power to any young people that want to run a business, but I think there's an important part of going to work in the field that you want to run the business for, and not getting frustrated because it's not going your way, or you're not getting out of it what you want to get out of it, maybe financially or vacation time or whatever you're looking for the person that you're working for. What you should be doing if you want to be an entrepreneur and own a business is soaking in everything that you can possibly learn from working for that company, and stick it out as long as you can until you're sure that you're ready to make that next step. Because I know people who are 40, 50 years old that work for someone their whole life, and then they think they can go out and do it better, and they do, and they fail, and then they go back to work for somebody again. So, age doesn't matter. It's how much you want to learn and how much you can pay attention, and, how much you can just keep doing your job and without bitching and complaining, and, just be positive.
Mm-hmm. So, thinking about your 20s now, moving, fast forward to the version of you that's running your business in your 40s. Mm-hmm. What do you think the biggest challenges are that you face now?
Well, the economy right now is obviously very difficult to work through. Materials, and in my industry in construction, especially in Saratoga, which is where I do most of my work, everybody is so busy. Mm-hmm. And even the subcontractors that, I've been working with for 6 or 7 years now that I've been developing relationships with, I can't always count on people because there's just so much going on. So trying to manage scheduling, making sure if I'm taking on a job and I have subs that are dedicated to the job, just staying on top of people and making sure they're going to show up when they say they're going to show up, and making sure the materials are available, to get the project done, and kind of just a lot of babysitting, and it changes all the time. Financial money fluctuating with prices of everything. The bid a job now, and 6 months down the road, the material price could double. It's kind of, there's a lot of what ifs. And
how are you handling that?
I tell my clients straight up that I give proposals for projects, and it's based on what the market cost is at that point. And if I get into the job and the cost is up, I can't eat costs for a material to do something nice at somebody's house. So I'll eat all the labor that I can. That's not a big deal.
You have to put like an asterisk on the quote. So this quote is good for 45 minutes.
Pretty much.
With the way things are changing.
I do a lot of cost plus work too.
Mm-hmm.
So a client hires me to remodel a basement. They have a budget, let's say, $150,000, and I'll work within those constraints. And the cost plus is, whatever it costs me. My subs charge me. I have a percentage that I charge on top of that to manage them. And then any work I do, labor, material, everything gets a percentage put on top of it. So they have a little more control over what the cost of the project is going to be. They see every cost. Mm-hmm. The books are open to them. They can see how much I paid for everything. They literally, will get an invoice from my foundation guy or whoever's doing the work, and they see that, they know that that's been paid, and then I get a percentage on top of that. So I do some contracts like that. The houses I've been building, that's kind of how I've been doing it. I manage the project. Yeah. So the client acts as the GC, and I get paid a percentage to manage. So the some of that is the financial burden of the project gets put onto the client instead of me.
Sure. So they act as the GC. You're the foreman.
I'm the project manager.
Project manager.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So I manage everything, contracts and inspections, subs, materials, schedules. I manage the finances too, but only to an extent of what they want to spend on it. I track costs,
trying to keep it in budget.
Yeah.
Just checking the time now. Okay, we're doing good. What do you think the secret to your success is? Which is always a funny question too, because it's like, well, you're assuming that I'm successful. I had to give a talk for a networking group the other day, and that was one of the questions. Like, oh, what's the secret to your success? I'm like, well, I'm not Elon Musk, so I don't know, like, what level of success are we talking about?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's not always a financial success. Right. I'm just, I just always try to stay positive. If I run into an issue or something, I deal with it and I move on. I don't burden myself with problems, and I don't know if there's a secret.
It's not a secret. I tell everyone.
I'm pretty laid back. I just kind of go with the flow, and by going with the flow, things just kind of happen to fall into my lap, and I'm not pushing for anything. It just kind of keeps coming together.
When you say you're not pushing for anything, what do you mean?
I'm not out there pushing and fighting for work,
gotcha.
Projects and jobs. I go from job to job. There's never ending right now for me into fall of next year. I have nothing to worry about. I just kind of.
Well, and we were talking before, we got started, and you had said that you don't really do any marketing, you don't do any advertising. No. It's really just more word of mouth and referral based.
Yep.
How does someone sustain that?
I work with some designers, very fortunate too, some really awesome people that get hired to do design work for clients. They bring me in on jobs, and I develop a relationship with that client, and they pass me on to a friend, or it just kind of it just keeps kind of compiling on top of one another. It's
and no mechanism for like staying in front of them, or like keeping top of mind, and just
No, not really.
No, that's good.
I'm pretty laid back. It's simple. I just, I wake up, I go to work, I meet with clients, I meet with, whoever I have to. I do my estimates, I talk to people, and I
do podcasts now too.
I do podcasts now too. Yeah. I do it every day. It's, every day is a new day for me. It's,
as Derek will attest, no one's getting rich from doing podcasts. At least not over here anyway. Not yet. What's how many jobs or projects are you on at a time?
I could be on 2 or 3. Like I have a house I'm building right now. We're in a framing stage. I have a small addition I just started. We just started pouring footings today for a foundation. Finishing up a small job that I've been working on for the past few weeks. And I have another job that I'm starting this week. So 2 of the house and the addition those are basically subbed out projects. And the job that I'm starting coming this week is more of a hands-on project for me. So I always keep a managing job in the background. I can manage from my truck, making phone calls, doing some emails, maybe a couple hours in the morning, putting stuff together. And then, I can always be hands-on on a project, and I'll never stop doing the hands-on. That's, a lot of my sales pitch to my clients. Even if I'm building a house, I do all my own finish work. So I do all trim and cabinetry installs, custom built-ins. It's just, I'm the guy that's there finishing the job, all the stuff that you're going to see at the end of the day. I do that.
Do you tell people that you're the icing on the cake?
I think they assume that.
Like, folks, I am the icing on the cake. That's, you're lucky that you give me.
I can do it all. That's, I guess, a good thing, with where I'm at now with the business. I built a huge pool house over the summertime, and I had subs lined up, and everybody got busy. Like I said, is, one of the issues that I'm dealing with right now. So I ended up framing the pool house by myself. I had my framer come one day to help me with a few things. I sided it. I did all the electric, did all the plumbing, ran through the whole, I built it, I had a little bit of help here and there when I had some people that weren't too busy. But it was a snafu that I ran into this summer, and I just kept my head down and kept going. Nice. I can do the work. I don't want to do all the work anymore. The idea is to manage a lot of that work and pick and choose what I want to do. But when push comes to shove, I can step in and do everything.
Nice.
Find a way, right?
Find a way. Get it done.
I can't sit around twiddling my thumbs and wait for somebody.
Absolutely.
Like clients don't want to hear that. They want it done.
Yeah. I couldn't sit around anyway.
No.
Well, back to the positivity piece. I think that's such a key point that a lot of people overlook, because it's so easy when you're in business. There's so many things that can go wrong at any point in time. And if you think about that, and I got caught in that trap for a while, and it's like, oh, why is my phone ringing now? Or why is this employee calling me? What's going on? What's the problem going to be? But you said you can't control certain things, and if you focus on what you can control and stay positive, it really all works out. I love that attitude.
Yeah, I get there. I mean, I get there sometimes, if this summer with that project that, I ended up having to be more hands-on. There was some other jobs that I was working on too, and I was all over the place. I mean, I was stretched so thin, and some mornings I'd, be driving in my truck, and I'm like, how the hell am I going to get this shit done? And I talk myself out of it and just go and get what I can done and make phone calls and talk to people and let them know what's happening and just kind of keep chugging along.
I know I've recently adopted the attitude that I know that today is going to suck. Well, I say it kind of jokingly, but when I would have bad days previously, it would always be because I was waking up expecting everything to go perfectly and to meet zero resistance or, adversity. And then when I would meet it, I'd be like, well, this is stupid. And now I'm just like, now I wake up, I'm like, you know what, today's going to be tough. I'm going to hit some challenges and I'm just going to rise above that. I'm going to kick the shit out of it.
Yep.
But it's, I had to make that change.
You can either feel sorry for yourself or, step it up.
I definitely did some feeling sorry for myself though.
Yeah.
Especially coming through COVID, because we got the shit kicked out of us through COVID. And then, when we were rebuilding last year and, I was I like caught myself being whiny at one point. I'm like, what the hell is this, man? Like, I'm not a whiny dude, but that's my attitude now. Today's gonna suck.
It's an emotional roller coaster.
I was carving pumpkins with my family yesterday, and I sort of got 3 of them saying, "Oh my God, tomorrow's Monday. Tomorrow's Monday."
Yeah.
Monday's my favorite day of the week.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Because everybody else is miserable. So if you're at least positive and you project that positivity, it's going to trickle down.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how their day's going today. Well, I thought about that on the way up here.
Yeah. And it's like, well, hey, thank God tomorrow's Monday, because all the bad shit's going to happen tomorrow. I'm going to kick the shit out of it. Get past it. The rest of the week's going to be freaking, puppies and rainbows.
Until Tuesday comes along.
Until Tuesday. Oh, man. So, just some of our, I don't know if we're calling them rapid fire questions, but that's how I have it written down. So they're called rapid fire questions. What are your thoughts on work ethic?
Nowadays?
Yeah.
Like how people are.
However you want to answer the question.
It's definitely gone downhill from where it was when I started in the business. Even when I started in my teens as working for other people, it's not the same as it was. Everybody expects something for nothing, and nobody really wants to take the time to prove themselves. It's just a deserving economy that we live in, and the work ethic kind of carries along with that.
Do you guys get people coming to you for work and then being like, I need $100 an hour or $150 an hour? Or like, do you see people that you're hired, Derek, when they started, they like saying ridiculous stuff like, when you ask them the question of what their expectation for pay is? And
well, there's this whole big thing with New York State now that, you have to post what the job pays, and it's some companies still aren't doing it. I don't think it's actually law yet, but they're pushing towards that. And we've always done it. We have a career roadmap in our business. So any person in the company, whatever level you're at, they can take a look at that and say, well, if I want to get to the next level and make this amount of money, here's what I need to do. And then there's certain certifications that have to be tied to it, or certain skill levels. Mm-hmm. So if somebody comes to me and says, hey, I want to make, this much more an hour. Well, okay, here's what you got to do to get it.
Sure.
And however long that takes, so there's at least a visible path for them to take. And that's helped us out greatly. So we don't really get, anything that's out of line.
Just me. What about you, Tom? Do you see that when subs and stuff coming to you and talking about what they want to get paid? Or I guess because the way you're doing it, though, you kind of avoid that problem, I guess.
Yeah, usually my subs let me know ahead of time if there's major price increases or any of my suppliers that I work with for materials. I get monthly reports about price increases and what's going up in cost. And typically when I bid a job, if I'm bidding a job to sub out, the plans go to the subs and they bid off the plans. They give me an estimate or a proposal, and maybe they'll say, this is good for 90 days or, and if we get past that, then we start discussing, what the changes are. But, a lot of those costs are locked in. That's why it's nice to subcontract, because, if they spend an extra week on a job, I'm still paying them the same amount of money. Yeah. If I had 4 employees doing that, now I just lost $10,000 because they took their sweet ass time doing something.
Yeah.
No bueno.
I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. Back to ethics. Are you working for yourself or are you working for the company? What's your motive? What's your goal? Are you here to be a part of something bigger, or are you just here because you want a paycheck? Yeah, it's like there's a lot more wanting paycheck people. I'm sure Derek knows. I mean, the industry that you guys are in, it's probably a revolving door at sometimes. That's how construction is too, and it's, no different than, I guess, what I did when I was younger, working for some companies and learning and then going out on my own because I thought I could do it better. But, after doing that for 14 years, I actually went back and worked for a builder. And that's where I learned and grew and really took advantage of the opportunity that I had doing that. And that's what, got me back in track to go back out and open my own business again, was that, that part of it. So I realized that I needed something more. I couldn't just keep maintaining on my own.
Yeah. And, we didn't cover it before, but what was that transition like for you going from working for a builder, going back out on your own? Was it, snap your fingers, I'm doing it? Was it a process over months? Like how did you make that transition?
I think the transition from working for myself and then going to work for somebody else was more difficult.
Yeah.
Because I was more in control, and then going into working with a team. But I found out quickly that I enjoyed working with the team because I didn't have to do everything.
Sure.
I had people I could, rely on to do parts of what I was trying to do all by myself, for a long time. Mm-hmm. The transition out of it, I wouldn't say I ever really stopped, running my business. So I'd still always do stuff here and there. So transitioning back out of it, I had some projects lined up and I knew what I wanted to do and had a discussion. And the day I left, I was working on projects.
Gotcha.
So I set myself up to leave. It wasn't just, hey, I'm going to open this business. Let's see what happens and see if it works out. I knew I had, X amount of projects or X amount of dollar worth of revenue coming in and I knew, I could maintain, my payroll or, I got to keep my wife happy. So if I wasn't making, if she doesn't get X amount of dollars a week, that's the most stressful part of my life.
Right. She's going to be unhappy. It means I'm going to be unhappy.
Yes. Yeah. So that was a big, making sure that it was going to be there and continuing to make sure it's going to be there. So,
and that's always a question, I hear when I'm talking to, especially younger guys that want to do their own thing and they're working for somebody and, like what that transition looks like is always from anyone that we've heard in your industry, I think it's been pretty consistent. Like I work here. I have a side hustle, doing side jobs here and there, and then I work on building up the
side hustle,
the backlog. Yeah. Like, hey, I know that I've got a side hustle going right now I've got 6 months worth of work on my side job. So now I know that I can go out and I just got to fill a couple of gaps in those 6 months. And now I've got 6 months worth of employment. And while that's happening, I'm going to start lining up after the 6 months.
Right.
But yeah. What about, what are your thoughts on college?
I think college is great for people that need to go to college for what they want to do. Even in the building industry, if you're going to be an engineer or an architect, you have to go to college. If you want to be a project manager, you could take some courses, but if you're young and do it, there's a lot to learn. Mm-hmm. There's only so much you can learn without being hands-on. And even, going to school for 6 years to be an engineer, you're still not going to learn what you have to learn until you sit there and start doing it, and you're getting paid to do it and you have someone breathing over your shoulder because you're not doing it right. I think there's a place for it. No doubt. I've tried college 3 different times. It never worked. So,
it's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody. No. I just think there's a lot of blue collar guys out there too that, tell themselves a story that they didn't go to college, so they got to be a laborer the rest of their lives. Or
that's not true.
No, I agree.
I didn't finish high school.
Nice.
So you don't have to, the education, it's all about motivation and what you want to be and who you want to force yourself to be, how hard you want to work at it.
Yeah.
If you're going to sit around and expect something, you're never going to be successful. If you go after it and you keep fighting and keep your head up, or, it'll come to you eventually.
Yeah, man.
I think one of my nephews, did an electrical program at Hudson Valley. And he got out. He went to work for one of my electricians for a couple of years just to get his feet wet, residential. Mm-hmm. Now he's got a freaking awesome job working at one of the chip plants. And
nice.
It's just,
they've got some great, that's where, was it Matt that we had on the show? Was he from Hudson Valley?
Matt Perry,
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the celebs we had on the show. But he teaches the auto body stuff over there. But they've got some great, trades and blue collar programs over there at Hudson Valley. It's amazing. What about day-to-day routines? I know we talked a little bit about early morning. You got any crazy morning routines? You doing your Wim Hof breathing, doing ice baths and stuff? Or you?
Tom reminds me of a yoga guy.
He's pretty calm. He's got a pretty calm.
personal routines, not really.
Yeah.
I got nothing. My day to day with work, it could change from minute to minute. I never know. I left the house today not assuming to do, too much physical labor, and I ended up, doing something that I didn't think I was going to have to do. So there's never really a plan. I mean, I have a plan of what I want to accomplish and what I want to get done, but anything can happen.
So a lot of behavioral flexibility.
Yeah. A lot of self-management. Self-management. Yep. Managing time.
What about planning or goal setting or anything like that for your business?
Just like I said, I'm pretty laid back. I'm just letting it happen. I'm
nice.
not I don't know. It's coming together good. So
the Zen contractor.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
What? So one of the big questions that we ask every show is, if you were gonna tell someone, a younger version of yourself maybe, or just someone who's thinking about going into a blue collar business or trade school or something along those lines, if you're gonna give them one piece of advice, what would it be?
I've said it a couple of times. Just stay positive. Keep your head down. Don't give up. It's my third business venture I've been in, and this seems to be a pretty successful one for me. And I could have gave up a long time ago and just, shrugged it off and went and worked for somebody the rest of my life. But it's not in me. It's got to be in you. You gotta want to do it.
Yeah.
You gotta not be afraid. Take the leap.
Take the leap.
Scary.
Derek, I miss anything? Forget anything?
No, I think you did good. But what motivates you? At the end of the day, what's your motivation? What keeps you going?
I love construction and carpentry. That's my favorite thing. I love doing it. I love putting stuff together. I love seeing clients at the end of a project. I like to make people happy that I work for. I love the relationships with my subs and talking to them, and it's like going out and hanging out with the guys every day. Talk about family and friends and everything going on. It's just you fall in love with the whole aspect of it. But seeing the finished product and knowing that I took the time and did it and make people happy, that's what keeps me going.
Nice. And if anybody wants to find you, get a hold of you, if they want to hire you, how do they find you?
They can find me on Facebook. We got a business page. They can email or call me. All my information's on there.
Business page is the Zen Contractor? Or
the Zen Contractor, yes. BuddhaConstruction.com.
Yeah. He's kidding. Anyway.
Yeah, no, Custom Craft Builders on Facebook. You can see some of my projects. There's a link to my email and phone number.
Nice.
You can get a hold of me like that, or send me a DM on Facebook and we'll chat.
Perfect. Well, thanks for coming up and jumping on here with us. We really appreciate it. I'm sure the listeners appreciate it.
Congrats on all your success.
Thank you.
Thus far. Keep it going.
Still working on it.
Absolutely.
Every day.
The day I can stop will be my success story.
All right.
Have me back in 20 years. We'll chat again.
All right. Mark it. If we had a person, we don't have a person, but if we had like a behind the scenes person.
Put it on the calendar.
Yeah. We'd like mark that. Hey, Jimmy, mark that, Jimmy. Everybody, thanks for listening. You have been listening to Blue Collar Startup. Check us out. We are on social media on Instagram. I never post, but every once in a while I do. So check us out and follow us. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble. I think that's it. Website, bluecollarstartup.io. And do us a favor, though. Help us build the audience. If you enjoyed what you're listening to here today, send it to a friend. Share it with a friend. Share it on Facebook or somewhere else. Thanks, everybody.